Hi, I'm back, your Mallesh sir, with another interesting topic, nutrition, modes of nutrition. See here children, already we have studied about what is meant by nutrition. So what is meant by nutrition? So nutrition is nothing but procurement of nutrients and utilization of nutrients by the organism is called as what children? Nutrition, right? So nutrition is nothing but procurement of nutrients and utilization of nutrients by the organism is called as nutrition. So what is mean by procurement? Procurement means intake of what? Nutrients. Then what are nutrients? See here. So what are nutrients, children? So already we have studied in our previous classes also. Carbohydrates, proteins, right? Fats, vitamins and minerals. So they are called as what children? Nutrients. So these nutrients are very useful to an organism for its growth and also to repair the cells, ruptured what children? Cells, right? So these carbohydrates are seen in cereals. Carbohydrates are rich in what children? Cereals and also many other products, plant products. And proteins are very rich in meat, milk, eggs, etc. and etc. Then what about fats? Fats are also called as what children? Lipids. So fats are very rich in ghee, butter, right? So and oils children. Okay, so in the oils also fats are very rich children. Then next come to what? Vitamins as well as what? Minerals. So vitamins and minerals are rich in vegetables and fruits. Got it? So here these carbohydrates, okay, and fats. These carbohydrates and fats both are called as energy giving foods. Okay, so these two are called as energy giving foods. Then what about the proteins? Proteins are called as body building foods, right? They are useful for the body building. Then what about these vitamins and minerals? So these vitamins and minerals, they are called as protective foods because it gives us what children? Immunity. So that's why vitamins and minerals, they are called as protective foods, right? So why these two carbohydrates and fats are called as energy giving foods? Because they provides us energy, children. So if you observe, 1 gram of carbohydrates gives 4 calories of what children? Energy, right? And even proteins also. So 1 gram of protein provides us 4 calories of what? Energy. But whereas this fats, 1 gram of fat, it provides 9 calories of energy, almost more than the double of this carbohydrates and proteins. So this fats are called as energy giving foods, and 1 gram of fat gives us 9 calories of energy. That's why doctors suggest us not to take more fats in our diet. If we take more fats in our diet, what happens? So there will be an increase in the cholesterol. If cholesterol increases in our body, what happens? It will obstruct the flow of blood in the arteries. That results in the what children? Heart strokes. Okay, that's why doctors suggest us not to take more fats in our diet, right? So these are called as what, children? Nutrients, right? The various ways of procuring the nutrients by the organism. Got it? The various ways of what procuring the nutrients by the organisms. In another words, we can say that they are nothing but modes of nutrition. So now let us discuss about modes of nutrition, children. Got the point, children? So this nutrition mainly it is of two types. What is that? First one is autotrophs and second one is heterotrophs. Got it? So what is mean by autotrophs? Let us see here. Auto, the meaning of auto is self, and trophs or trophe is nothing but nutrition. That is nothing but what, children? Self-nutrition. That means the organisms which perform the autotropic nutrition, they are called as autotrophs. So what are autotrophs? Autotrophs are nothing but the organisms which perform the autotropic nutrition is called as autotrophs. What are autotrophs, children? They will synthesize their own food materials. That is what it is called, self-nutrition. So autotrophs will synthesize its own food materials. How it is possible? How an organism can synthesize its own food materials? Does it require anything from the external side? Yes, it requires, children. For example of this autotrophs is plants. Let us take the example of plants only. So plants will synthesize its own food materials. This we know very well. We have studied in the previous classes also, in your lower classes also. Got the point? So how do the plants synthesize its own food materials? By the inorganic materials from the external side. That is, plant synthesize its own food materials by using carbon dioxide from the air, got it, and water from the soil, right? In the presence of what, children? Chlorophyll. In the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight, children, plants synthesize its food materials. So what is that? Glucose. And along with the glucose, byproduct is what, children? Oxygen. So the whole process of synthesizing the food materials by the plants is called as photosynthesis. So plants perform photosynthesis process, children. So photosynthesis is a process of what, children? Synthesizing the food particles by using carbon dioxide as well as what? Water. The example of this autotrophs is plants. Such kind of water nutrition is seen in the plants. So this is called as what, children? Autotropic nutrition. So in this autotropic nutrition, children, there is another subtype of nutrition, that is chemotropic nutrition. Chemotropic nutrition. So what is this chemotropic nutrition? Chemo means what, children? Chemicals. Right? Tropic, already we have studied, isn't it? Tropic means what, children? Nutrition. So the organisms which perform this chemotropic nutrition are called as chemotrophs. Got it? Chemotrophs. What are the examples of this one? So for examples of these chemotrophs are blue-green algae, right? Purple bacteria, okay, and also sulfur bacteria. And some other bacteria also perform chemotropic nutrition. So what is this chemicals? So these chemotropes also uses carbon dioxide and water for its synthesizing its own food materials. Got it? And also, but why this what in the autotropic nutrition we have seen that the autotrophs are taking what, children? Utilizing carbon dioxide as well as water in order to produce the glucose molecules in it. And here in the chemotropic nutrition also, these chemotropes are using the carbon dioxide, water in order to produce what, children? Glucose. But what is the difference between this chemotropic nutrition and autotropic nutrition? So the main difference in between these two is this chemotropic nutrition does not require sunlight. They do not require any kind of what, children? Sunlight. So you may ask me one doubt. So do these chemotropes consist of chlorophyll? Yeah. Some of the bacteria consist of chemotropes, especially the chemotropes. So in that chemotropes, children, in some of them, they consist of chlorophyll. And some of them, they do not consist of chlorophyll. Okay. So that we will study in the higher classes. We call it as photosynthetic bacteria, right, children? And another type is what? Chemoautotrophs, and chemoheterotrophs is also there. That you will study in the higher classes, not now. Okay. So here the main difference between the chemotropic nutrition and autotropic nutrition is only the sunlight. The rest all the things will be what, children? Similar. Say they do not require sunlight. Why they do not take the sunlight? Because so these chemotropes are present at the depth of the ocean where sunlight will not fall on that. Isn't it? So these kind of what, children? Chemotropes are seen inside the depth of the ocean where the salinity is more. So in one way we can say that chemotropes are seen in the salty soils. Okay, children. So this is about autotropic nutrition. So autotropic nutrition, and another subtype of nutrition is there, that is chemotropic nutrition. Okay, the organisms which perform autotropic nutrition are called as autotrophs. The organisms which perform chemotropic nutrition, they are called as chemotrophs, children. Okay, and next come to another type of what, children? Nutrition. Those are called as heterotrophs. Got it? So what is mean by hetero? Hetero means others. And what about trophs? Trophs means already we have seen trophic, that is nothing but what, children? Nutrition. So here the organisms get food from the other animals, directly or indirectly, children. Got it? So here these heterotrophs are also subdivided into three types, children. The first one is saprophytic nutrition. Saprophytic nutrition. And second one is parasitic nutrition. And third one is Holozoic nutrition. Got it? So what is mean by saprophytic nutrition? So the organisms which perform saprophytic nutrition, they are called as saprophytes. Saprophytes. And this saprophytic nutrition, it is also called as saprotropic nutrition. So how do these saprophytes get the nutrients? So that's what, isn't it, children? We are going to learn. So in this saprophytic nutrition, children, that means saprophytes, so they cannot synthesize their own food materials like chemotrophs or autotrophs. then how do they depend? So how do they get the food? So they depend upon the other organisms. So here in this saprophytic nutrition, so the organisms, what they do is they feed or they get the nutrients from the rotten food, that is nothing but decayed matter. So these saprophytes, what they do is they produces certain kind of enzymes, and these enzymes acts on dead plants and animals. Okay, so these enzymes will decay the dead bodies of plants as well as animals, and these enzymes will convert the complex matter into a simple ones, isn't it? So they will convert these complex substances into a simple ones. So once when they get converted into a simple substances, then the nutrients is easily absorbed from the body surface. Such type of nutrition, we call it as saprophytic nutrition. Example to this saprophytic nutrition is mushrooms, right? Yeast, okay, etc. Right? Saprophytic nutrition means, actually the meaning of sapro means what? Rotten. Okay, they get the food from the decayed dead bodies of plants and animals. Here the enzymes plays major role in digesting that complex dead bodies of plants and animals into a simple ones, and once they get into form into a simple ones, then through the body surface it will easily absorb the simple particles, and thus they get the nutrients directly from that children. Such type of nutrition we call it as saprophytic nutrition. Then come to parasitic nutrition. Before going to understand about the parasitic nutrition, children, let us understand the word parasites. So what are parasites, children? Parasites are the organisms which depend upon the another organisms for food and cause harm to that organism. Okay, such type of organisms we call it as parasites. Got it? So I will repeat it again. So the organisms which depend upon the another organism. Why they are depending upon the another organism? For the sake of what? Food. Right? So they are taking food from the another organism, that we are calling it as host. Okay. So does it beneficial anything to the host? No. Isn't it? So it causes harm. All the maximum parasites, actually disease causing organisms are called as parasites. So they act upon the host for the food and they cause harm to that host. Such type of organisms we call it as parasites. Actually these parasites are of two types, children. Let us see that. So one is ectoparasite. Ectoparasite, and another one is endoparasite. What is mean by ectoparasite? Ecto means what? Outside. Outside parasite means what? So these parasites will present on the surface of the host, and it will take the food from it. For example, like lice, leeches. Okay, so these leeches are These leeches are seen in fresh water. When the buffalo get into the water into a pond, so what happens is these leeches will suck the blood from the buffaloes or cows, children. Isn't it? So ectoparasites. So these leeches will not enter into the body of a buffalo, body of another organism. So they are present at the outer side of that body only, on the surface of the body only, and they take food from that. right? Such type of what children, parasites, we call it as ectoparasites. They are seen outside the body. For example, good example is lice. We see this one on our what children head, in our hair. It sucks the what children blood, isn't it? So good example for this ectoparasites are lice as well as what? Leeches, right? And endoparasites are seen. For example, like Plasmodium. Plasmodium, right? So Plasmodium is what children? Malarial parasite. Malarial parasite. So this parasite is entirely different from that of what ectoparasite. Ectoparasite, it is seen on the outer surface of the body. But whereas endoparasite means what children? Inside. These parasites enters into the body of the host for the sake of food, isn't it? And they cause harm to that what children host, and they disturb the metabolic activities in the body of the host, and that results in the what children? Disease. That's why parasites are called as disease causing organisms. Got it? So here parasitic nutrition, it is. I hope you have understood about this parasitic nutrition children and about the parasites also. So parasites are the disease causing organisms which acts on what children? Host, right? So host. And this is about the parasitic nutrition. And then the last one, that is Holozoic nutrition. What is meant by Holozoic nutrition? Holo means what children? Actually whole, right? Here in this type of nutrition children, food enters through a small hole that is called as mouth. And what kind of food? That is solid food. So this solid food, in this kind of nutrition children, solid food enters into an organism with the help through what children? Mouth. Okay. So solid foods enters into the mouth children. Okay, through the mouth, right? And these complex substances, and that means this process is called as ingestion. Okay, ingestion means what children? Taking enough what children? Food. And the diet, and this after taking the food children, this solid food will be because of what? Enzymes in our body, digestive enzymes in our body children, they get digested. Okay, they get what? Digested. And after getting digested children, those digested particles will be assimilated. Assimilated means what children? Absorbed. What is absorbed? Digested particles will be absorbed. So where it will be absorbed? So cells will absorb that one, isn't it? So assimilation. Assimilation. And after the assimilation process, digested particles have easily absorbed by the cell. And in the process of what digestion, there will be an undigested particles also. So it should be what children? Sent out of the body children, isn't it? So such type of nutrition, it is called as Holozoic nutrition, where ingestion, digestion, assimilation is seen children. Okay, so example to this is herbivores, carnivores, and also what children? All omnivores. You know, you have studied in your previous lessons also that herbivores are what? Plant-eating animals, and carnivores are flesh-eating animals, and omnivores are plant-eating and flesh-eating animals children. Okay, for example, like example to this is goat, tiger, and even human beings comes under this children. Okay, so this is about a Holozoic nutrition. In this Holozoic nutrition children, solid particles enters into the body through what children? Mouth, and this solid particles will be what children? Gets digested because of the digestive enzymes, and the digested particles will be assimilated and undigested food will be expelled outside from the body. Such type of nutrition we call it as what, children? Holozoic nutrition. So this is all about what, children? Heterotrophs. Heterotrophs mean what, children? The nutrition which is obtained what, children? From the other animals directly or indirectly. It may be from the plants or it may be from the animals. They are again subdivided into saprophytic nutrition, parasitic nutrition and holozoic nutrition, children. So these three are the subtypes of what, children? Heterotropic nutrition, children. Okay, so this is about what, children? Modes of nutrition. In today's class we have studied about nutrition. Nutrition is nothing but a procurement of nutrients and the utilization of nutrients by the organisms, and also we have studied about the nutrients, what are those nutrients and what are what energy giving foods and what are protective foods and what are body building foods, and modes of nutrition also we have seen. So it is mainly divided into two types of nutrition we see, that is autotropic nutrition. In this autotropic nutrition, plants synthesize its own food materials, and also another type of subtype we seen in autotropic nutrition, that is chemotropic nutrition. In that the main difference between chemotropic as well as autotropic nutrition is only the sunlight, children. So sunlight is used by the autotrophs, and chemotrophs, they do not use the sunlight at all. So chemotrophs are seen in the depth of the ocean and also in the salinity soils, children. So that is about an autotrophs, and we have seen about the saprophytic, parasitic and holozoic nutrition in today's session. And thank you very much, and in the next class we will see I will come with another topic. Thank you very much.